Now, we back with this situation again, man. I don't want to talk for too long, but bro, like this is crazy. Wait, hold up. Y'all heard that?
Ooh, all right. Woo. This is light work.
Hey, we back with another reaction. I hear a lot of people in the comments saying I don't like the new intro, but hopefully it growing, y'all, because it's staying. You hear me? But so I just did this video on the Karen who tried to line up dude with the dreadlocks, right? Who went to his house, and I'm not gonna get into it all that because we're gonna see it again in the video. But she went to his house, basically screamed for help when he ain't do nothing. Now we have a popular YouTuber by the name of Officer Tatum who basically is saying that she didn't do nothing wrong. Now this really mind boggles me. Like I'm mind boggled because I'm looking like I looked at the video like 100 times after that just so I can try to see his point of view. And I just couldn't see it. You know what I'm saying? But the crazy thing about it, when I did that first video, some of y'all probably looked at it. When I did the first video, when I stopped recording, I thought to myself, I was like, I want to see what Officer Tatum going to say about this. I want to see if he going to be able to defute this. And man, this man literally squeezed and labored to find a way to make this woman right. Now, I'm like, there are some things I agree with Officer Tatum about. There's some things I disagree with Officer Tatum about. Like the Sonya Massey situation. That situation was completely out. I'm like, bro, how can you justify this? He finds ways to justify this. I don't know what to think of this dude, man, for real. But let's get into this video, and y'all gonna see he literally is squeezing out the way he's trying to just press and find a way to make this woman right. I don't get it. You hear me? But put y'all cash up in the comments, man. Y'all know how to do. If y'all don't believe I'm blessing comments, just ask my supporters. They ride for me. You feel me? Because I know I ride for them. So put your cash up, you're gonna get blessed. I'm telling you. Also, let's get 1,000 likes on the video. Road to 1 million subs, man. Let's get it.
And all the things. So I want to jump on here because my Facebook is public, and for those of you guys who are telling me that I owe a public apology.
All it took was some tears, not even a lot of tears, just a little bit of tears, to get America's most reliable Uncle Tom to come rushing to the defense of this Karen. Officer Tatum is the worst type of human being. Most normal people call out bad people no matter what race they are. If you are a terrible human being and you just happen to be black, we're gonna call you out. If you are a terrible human being and you just happen to be white, we're gonna call you out. Officer Tatum is so obsessed with white validation that white folks in his eyes can't do no wrong. Officer Tatum derides and panders to white folks so much that even white people get uncomfortable watching him. And a prime example of this is the Sonya Massey video, where Sonya Massey was gunned down in her own kitchen unarmed. And everybody in America, conservative, liberal, white, black, Chinese, it doesn't matter. Everybody in America came together to say, this is wrong, she deserves justice. And Officer Tatum grossly underestimated the compassion of his own audience. Just because they're white and conservative doesn't mean they're racist. But let's watch him in a throwback video try to feed racist tropes to his audience, thinking this is what they want, before it grossly backfired on him.
I have to say, I think that this is justified, but it could have been avoided, but still justified. You can't throw boiling water on a police officer and not get shot.
The raccoon is strong with it.
That really hurt my heart. I ain't gonna lie, because first of all, she didn't throw hot water. And second of all, you think, okay, this woman is 99 pounds. I did a video on that too. This woman, 99 pounds. This man is a big burly officer. If anything, he could have used his force to overpower her. He could have slapped the water out of her with his force, doing it right. You, bro, popping somebody in the head, a woman that's 99 pounds over some boiling water. And he got the nerve to say, what if it was acid in a pot? Who's in the house boiling acid? Man, come on.
This one. You know you tripping when even the MAGA supporters was like, hey, bruh, that officer was wrong. He killed that woman in cold blood. he was charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder. He told her to take the boiling hot water from off the stove. She took it from off the stove, had it in the sink, and because she said, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus," he pulled out his gun, she panicked and ducked behind the counter, and he shot her for ducking.
She got one hand blocking her face. This is the pot that she's coming up from the ground and swinging at the officer like this. If you ask me, this is a what they call a suicide by cop, which means that the person is wanting to die at the hands of cops, so they do something overt to make the cops shoot them.
Do you know how much of a bootlicking Sambo you gotta be for your audience, who are cop-loving, far-right extremists, for them to chastise you and say, "Hold up, bruh, we not defending no cop who shot and killed a woman in her own kitchen because she allegedly had boiling hot water, even though she emptied out the boiling hot water and filled it up with cooler water. We not defending no cop who lied on the report after the fact to hide his wrongdoing."
Now, I want to say this before we get into the video. I'm not a leftist. I'm not a rightist. I'm what I want. I'm 200. So I don't lean far to the left. I don't lean to the right. So just make sure. I want y'all to think I'm a Democrat or I'm none of them. I vote for who I want to vote for. That's just that.
We not protecting no cop who called that woman names while she was on the floor in front of him with a bullet in her head fighting for her life. You know how much of a bootlicking Sambo you got to be for them to go against you? Once it became perfectly clear that his audience were not rocking with him, that his audience are not going to go along with this rhetoric, he came back. And this is when I realized that Officer Tatum isn't even worth addressing or ever responding back to or ever making a video about, because Officer Tatum doesn't have an opinion of his own. His opinion is whatever he believes them white folks who follow his channel want to hear. Because once it becomes perfectly clear that them white folks ain't rocking with the nonsense he spewed, he made a follow-up video attempting to soften his stance without truly copping out. Because, you got to keep a little bit of integrity here. So he tries to soften up his stance a little bit while not fully copping out.
I just want to make this video to give a more detailed explanation of my opinions about this last situation, because it seems like a lot of people had a misconstrued version of what I was trying to say or what my total thoughts were. It's okay to disagree with me on the video. I don't mind. I'm open to dialogue. But when I believe that people are putting words in my mouth and things that I did not say, or saying that I agree with things I do not agree with, it necessitates me to make a follow-up video just to clarify these things, and then we move on. Because at the end of the day, I'm not indicted and I'm not in the casket.
Tatum is known to beat a dead horse. He's known to run a topic to the ground. But after he realized he miscalculated his pandering and his audience wasn't rocking with this was his last video on the subject. He didn't touch it after this. So when I seen that this Sambo Igaboo was making videos about Michelle Bishop and Mike Jenkins, aka the Karen that called the police on her black neighbor for simply letting her know that he lives at the house she was currently at, I already knew what his stance was gonna be. I could have told you the entire script before I even watched the video. I could tell you every angle he was gonna take. But the only reason I'm wasting my time by even making this video covering it, even though we know that those opinions that Tatum may have shared is not of his own, or opinions that he don't believe in, have no conviction in, or opinions he's just regurgitating because he believes his audience want to hear it. The only reason why I'm even wasting my time covering it is because he didn't just cover and make videos about it. He took it a step further in regurgitating some very dangerous rhetoric that we have to discuss. Let's rehash the situation and break down what's going on. So Michelle Bishop, the woman currently on your screen, she was walking through the neighborhood.
Knock on the doorbell. Ring doorbell. We need you. What's going on?
Do you live here? Yeah. You do?
Papa.
While she was walking, Mike Jenkins was driving home from work. She makes a hard right onto his property. So he rolls down his window immediately and says, "Are you okay?" She doesn't answer him. She continues to walk to his front porch. So he continues his drive home. He gets into his driveway, and you can hear Michelle asking him, "Do you live here?" And he says, "Yes, I do." But apparently that wasn't enough for Michelle Bishop, who apparently doesn't know who Mike Jenkins is, even though they've lived in the same neighborhood for years now. So she says, "I don't believe you," and begins to run away screaming for help.
I don't believe that.
What?
I don't believe that.
So what are you doing?
Rory, come on. Rory, come on.
Did someone come here?
That was my wife. Somebody chased her up here.
So she runs and screams like bloody hell in Bloody Mary, runs help, screaming for her life as if somebody was about to capture her and cut her throat. So she runs over to her neighbor's house, let the neighbor know that she needs help, somebody is chasing her. Her husband comes, tells her husband somebody is chasing her. She calls the police and let the police know somebody is chasing her and her children. The husband and her walks back over to the property. Mike Jenkins' wife comes out. They tell Mike Jenkins' wife, as you just heard, somebody was chasing her. This is where things start looking real malicious. After lying and saying that he was chasing her, that's the first lie, she follows up that lie with another lie by claiming that Mike Jenkins never told her that he lived there. Even though we heard him tell her, "I live here," and she stated, "I don't believe you," and ran.
And she had the kids.
Who chased her?
She said somebody in the
There was a
silver
guy in
truck.
a gray truck, and he came
So
around the corner,
I don't
and
know if you guys have a
I was
reading.
in the street, and so I come up, and I just have my kids, and so I'm like gonna pretend that I'm coming home, and so I pull up and I start walking to your back gate, and he stops here and he goes, "Are you looking for someone?" And I said, "Nope," and then he sat here, and I was like, "I need to get in."
Well, that's my husband. That's why he lives here. Yeah. He lives here. So he came in and he said there's a lady screaming, and I'm like, that's...
She got all worried that she
Scared the crap out of me.
How?
I'm so sorry.
How did he scare you, though?
I just seen her in the driveway and I was like, "Are you looking for somebody?" Because I was pulling up out.
And I saw someone walking in our driveway, too, and I'm like, why is someone walking in our driveway?
Well, I'm
Well, there
sorry.
we got it. All right, sorry.
What?
I don't.
She said that someone was following her. So you were walking from there?
You came this way, didn't you?
No, I came down this street right here.
Yeah.
And I was riding slow because I'm looking at our Christmas lights.
Well, you just have to understand my point of view. Being by myself with 2 kids, I just saw a car coming.
First of all, I don't have to understand your point of view. You got to understand my point of view. Bro, like, look at this. And I'm going to explain more of my side, but we're going to keep it going. But I want to say this. I drive slow in my neighborhood all the time when I'm pulling up. It's my neighborhood. I can drive however I want to drive. I ain't going to drive fast because I want to hit like a kid or something. I'm going to drive slow when I'm pulling up to my home.
And so I was like, oh, it scared me. And so I just pulled up here. And I kept thinking, this could be his house. But you didn't say, this is my home. You just said, are you looking? I was like,
I did. When you was on the porch, you asked me, "Did I live here?" I said, "Yeah."
And you said, no, you don't.
And you said, "I don't think you do."
It was obviously you could tell that I was really caught off guard.
Like,
I've consumed a lot of content surrounding this video and heard a lot of opinion being given.
Just on the real, before we even get to Officer Tatum, on the real, how could you find a way looking at that video to justify what she done? This is what I think, and this is what makes it so dangerous to me. Imagine if there was no cameras. I said that in the first video. Imagine if it was no cameras. She could have twisted that story any way possible. If there was no cameras. Think about it. He could have walked out of the house. She could have been like, it was him. He was chasing me. He said something. Anything could have happened. We don't know. But luckily, it was on camera. But you're literally on a man's property. This man asks you, are you looking for someone? She goes and asks him, is this your home? He answers, yes. And then you proceed to start running and screaming, yelling for help. I don't get it. You're on his lawn. You're on his. I don't see how you can find something wrong with this. But she was wrong to me. And to everybody seemed like, except for him.
On this video, I've seen some people watch this video and walk away with Michelle Bishop is a full-on racist. I've seen other people watch this video and walk away with Michelle Bishop is weird, a little eccentric, but they're unwilling to assume malicious intent. I've seen some people watch this video and say, this isn't a race thing. This is a man and woman thing. But what I hadn't seen before I watched an Officer Tatum video, I didn't see anybody watch this video and walk away with the conclusion that Michelle Bishop is the victim, Mike Jenkins is the perpetrator, him and his wife are co-conspirators, and they put all of this together to scam and ruin Michelle Bishop's life. Only Officer Tatum and that dense skull of his will be able to walk away with that conclusion.
It happened. And it's worse than you think. Like, this dude is such a fraud. And I'm going to point it out to you very clearly.
This is a disease. This is a sickness. Now, I know some dudes who love white folks, but I don't know nobody who love white folks more than Tatum, bro. This is a prime example of it only takes a little bit of massaging and tears to activate the raccoon chip in the best of them. Tatum loved himself some white folks, man. Tatum loved white folks so much, bro, that when he seen Michelle Bishop tears, he internalized it and personalized it as a personal attack on himself. You could just see how he's speaking about Mike Jenkins, the hostility, the hominin attacks. He now sees Mike Jenkins as an adversary because Michelle Bishop cried. See, Mike Jenkins didn't go looking for trouble. Mike Jenkins didn't go to Michelle Bishop's household. Mike Jenkins was driving home and all of this hit him at once. But Tatum is now calling Mike Jenkins a fraud because Michelle Bishop cried. Now, here's the thing, bro, when it comes to all of this, okay? He says he's going to expose Mike Jenkins and make it perfectly clear that Mike Jenkins is a fraud. Now, I want to see this, right? I want to see the babbling nonsense that Tatum is going to try to put together to make coherent. I want to see how Mike Jenkins is a fraud.
If you pull up to your house and you see this woman with her kids and she's at your door and she's spooked, you would think to yourself, because you know you were driving and you saw her cut off in front of your house. You driving the truck, you look out at the lady and she's walking in front of your house. And then you pull up and you see her and she's looking like she see a ghost. If you're a rational person, in my opinion, you'd say, oh, I ain't spooked this lady. She's scared. Hey, man, look, I live here. Don't be alarmed. You know, my wife is so. We just moved in the neighborhood. Don't be alarmed. I don't know what I did to spark you or spook you. Maybe me driving in the truck or whatever. But don't be alarmed. I live here. It's all good. You know, don't be at ease. You don't have nothing to be afraid of. You know, I moved this neighborhood, whatever. Say something.
So you want him to do exactly what he'd already did.
He said something. He said, are you looking for someone? He said something exactly. Bro, what point is he? Like, he literally pandering to try to justify it. When everything he just said, he did.
Him to notify her that he lives at the house, right?
Do you live here?
Yeah.
You do? Papa. I don't believe that.
What?
I don't believe that.
So what are you doing here?
Rory, come on. Rory, come on.
I'm so glad that people with a brain actually watch this channel, because I don't really need to do anything but just play the evidence. You are telling him to do something to avoid conflict that he already did that didn't avoid the conflict. You telling him to validate that he lives there. She asked, do you live here? He said, yeah. She asked again, you do? He said, yeah. And she still ran off, called the police on him and let them know that he was chasing her. So even the things that you're telling him to do to avoid conflict, he did. But somehow, some way, you're still making him out to be the bad guy and Michelle Bishop to be the victim. This is sickening, Tatum. And it just shows, bruh, that you are one of those people who believes that if...
That's my fault, man. I'm sorry, guys. I've been doing that a lot lately.
Massa's sick, You sick. Massa, you're sick? We sick, Massa. Yo, I can't.
Bro, I'm not even looking at this from a race thing. Let's leave race out the whole thing. This right here, to me, is just that was an act to me of horrible character. Let's say the dude in the car wasn't black. Let's say he was white. That still wouldn't have been right. Let's say he was Mexican. That still wouldn't have been right. Let's say he was Asian. That still wouldn't have been right. So let's just take race off the table. Let's just say a woman goes to a man's home. A man pull up and ask them, are you looking for someone? Yes, this is my home. And this person just starts running and yelling to the top of their lungs. To me, that's just a sign of poor character. That's it. Because you know that neighborhood is safe. That's why you're comfortable enough to walk with your kids at night. And now, I'm pretty sure you should have known that if a car was driving, that it had to be somebody in that neighborhood. If you're that comfortable to walk at night, you know that neighborhood is safe. So you have to look at it from this man's perspective. This man could have got hurt. Anything could have happened to him. But luckily, we got cameras. Thank God for that.
Stand this clown, bruh. But the stupidity doesn't stop here. Tatum would accuse this man, Mike, of luring Michelle Bishop and her kids onto his porch by behaving suspiciously. And then when he got to his porch and seen Michelle Bishop and her 2 kids on his porch, he connived a scheme on the spot to get internet fame and clout off of Michelle Bishop.
But instead, and this is just my opinion, I don't know this to be true, but I know people like this. He see an opportunity because his lens is everything is racist.
This is where Tatum exposes himself and really reveals what goes through his mind. His mind is filled with nothing but clout chasing, which is why he believes that a father and a husband would come home, see a woman with her 2 kids on his porch, and the first thing he thinks of is clout chase, internet fame. No, that man probably, bro, his heart is racing like, bro, I hope this woman ain't about to say those are my kids, bro. And then you go through the other motions, which is like, okay, is she in danger? Is she here? Is there trouble? My kid's inside. What's going on? Nobody is thinking of internet fame and clout, especially in the moment. But because Tatum's entire world surrounds clout chasing, he believes that everybody else thinks like this.
Yo, you looking for somebody? I mean, and in her mind, it's now a suspicious situation. They squashed it, didn't they? It was over, wasn't it? She apologized, didn't she? This was a ring camera. This wasn't in the media. This wasn't in the news. Nobody knew about this.
This is the problem with pandering to one side so much, is you can't be honest. So he's so obsessed with pandering to one particular side that he ignores all the facts. So he calls these people clout chaser and say, look, this didn't have to come online. This could have stopped there. These people are clout chasers for putting this online. But what he doesn't tell his audience, and I hope somebody from his audience watches this video so they can get the full story and the truth. What he doesn't tell his audience is that Michelle Bishop admits that she was the first one to publicize this. She was the first one to take to Instagram and go live. She was the first one to make multiple Instagram posts about this incident.
Fine. So I ended up, we went home. And that night when I got home, I had tears and I was making a cup of coffee. And if you guys know me, I put everything on Instagram. I talk all the time. It was an innocent mistake. I felt really stupid. I absolutely was crushed I felt like they thought I was stupid. I already felt stupid. I truly felt stupid. Like I said to them on the porch, like I kept thinking like maybe this is his house. And then like I'm running and screaming at the top of my lungs. And so yeah, like I felt dumb for sure. So I went on Instagram in my story. I still have it archived and I like have tears and I'm making a cup of coffee. And I said, I was like, man, you like talk about a night. I'm like, man, my night just completely took a left turn. And I was like, super scary. I was like, I'll have to fill you guys in later. So I went live that night. And then I went live again the next morning. And I have to tell you guys, I have been on social media long enough to know that there's a lot of scrutiny. And so by me going live, I did not think that I was doing anything wrong. I was sharing the story of what happened, better safe than sorry, how scary it was, just what I went through. Like, that's the only reason that I went live.
She went live because she knew exactly what was going to happen. That's why she went live. She had to get her story out. And another thing is, this is the type of woman who got away with a lot of stuff in her life, I can tell. That's why she always mentioned, oh yeah, I had tears in my eyes when I was doing. That's why she always crying. She tried to get sympathy. And she got away with that a lot. But in this situation, she sees that these people, they not having that. You ain't just going to say, I'm sorry, like you did in your life with who you mess with or how you grew up. I know I could tell by the way she act, because she used to shedding a tear and getting away with stuff. Say, I'm sorry. Some things I'm sorry just not going to fix. It's going to take time. You can't expect to do something like that to someone and think, oh, I'm sorry, and a tear going to fix it. That's not going to fix it. Now, me, I'm a Christian, so I got to forgive you. I will forgive you, but it'll be a while before I talk to you. It'll take a while. You got to give it time. But another thing is this. You got to understand where that guy is coming from. You can't expect that guy to react like how you expect him to react, Officer Tatum. You got to realize this is a black man who been to jail. This is more, even he probably mixed or whatnot. I don't care. This is a black man who got long wicks down to his freaking stomach. This is a black man who knows that when he walks somewhere, people looking at him. Especially if he walking in a place where there's a whole lot of rich businessmen. They looking at him like, they looking at these dreadlocks. They're looking at that he's used to being profiled in a certain way. That's going to happen. You got to realize that's his mentality. So if he pull up to his home and he see a white woman screaming, help, help, how you think he feel? That's what you got to understand. This is what if you look at, I'm a black man. One thing about black people from the hood is we profile. Tell me I'm lying. Black niggas in the hood, if you in the hood as a black nigga, you see a nigga walk up creeping with wigs on, a nigga, you gonna look at him, you be like, hold up, you probably clutching. Cause we profiling. So you gotta realize that's how us think. So you can imagine how he feeling. He feeling like, oh, that's how they looking at me. They looking at me like this. But he ain't think he have to deal with that because he not in the hood. You see what I'm saying? Now, even if she's not a racist or whatnot, I didn't say she was. You feel me? Well, I didn't say she was in this video. But the whole point is you got to look at how he's looking at the situation. Yeah, let's get into it.
This is why nobody takes Tatum seriously, because his opinions just go with whatever he believes his audience want to hear. Tatum knows this video exists. Tatum has watched this video. Tatum knows exactly what took place, but he purposefully omits that she went live first. She publicized it first. This is why a lot of us will say that Tatum isn't somebody that's worth even responding to or engaging with, because I can take and stand a fool who is solid in his convictions and has an actual stance. But if your stance is wherever the wind blows, you are just an idiot. See, Tatum's stance is, if you publicize this, if you took to social media to post about this, you are a clout chaser. Michelle Bishop is admitting here that the night it happened, she went live and then went live again the following morning to tell her audience her side of what took place and about this interaction she has. Mike Jenkins and his family hadn't went live yet. They hadn't posted any videos yet. They hadn't publicized this yet. But Michelle Bishop, according to Tatum, got every right to tell her side of the story. But Mike Jenkins, the actual victim, he's a clout chaser, he's a fraud, he's a schemer for posting a video and telling his side of the story after Michelle Bishop had 2 opportunities to do so before he could even speak.
But these people, And maybe a few other neighbors that had gotten involved when the running and stuff happened. But no, he got to be a victim. And I'm telling you, y'all, I heard some more stuff out. Some more people reached out to me about this guy, and he does not seem like a good guy whatsoever.
Let me get this straight. Mike Jenkins is a horrible guy because a few people told you he was, who are probably linked to Michelle Bishop. But Michelle Bishop is a good person, even though she has a decade-long history of being a horrible person. There's documentation online on platforms like Reddit and Twitter that documents Michelle Bishop being terrible, lying, scamming, being a fraudster, but that doesn't count.
I told y'all, this is the type of woman who got away with a lot of stuff. I could tell. Now, I was looking at the whole, I'm going to read that later, but yeah, y'all pause it and read.
How you view Michelle Bishop, hundreds of people with forums and threads of how Michelle Bishop is a terrible human being, how she's a liar. That right there plays no part in how you view her. But a few people telling you Mike Jenkins is a bad person has convinced you he's a bad person. And I wonder why you're so quick to be biased. No, I truly wonder how someone turns out being the type of human being that Officer Tatum is. Like, I truly am curious. How does someone become an Officer Tatum? Because there's no way that this amount of self-hatred exists within yourself. I like everyone. Black, blue, purple, green, white, it doesn't matter. I like everyone. But Officer Tatum is so obsessed with whiteness that is weird. It's very weird. Bro is ready to throw away his entire reputation and integrity to defend whiteness when he don't have to. See, he took the buck dancing and shucking and jiving on the road when he interviewed Michelle Bishop and her husband. Now, I don't know what exactly I was expecting before watching the interview, but I guess I wasn't expecting him to, from the very beginning, make it perfectly clear this isn't going to be an objective interview. He isn't going to go hard. He isn't going to ask journalistic questions. This was only going to be an interview where he's absolutely biased and he's going out of his way to defend the agenda or his narrative and not the truth. He starts off the interview even before hearing her out by claiming Michelle Bishop is here to tell the truth about what really happened that night, painting her as the gatekeeper to the truth and Mike Jenkins as a liar.
You know, normally I just talk and run my mouth about certain things that I'm passionate about. But when I see things on the internet that are grossly unjust, I have to talk about them. And I know you guys have seen the last couple of days I've made videos about Michelle Bishop, who's a young lady that was at the doorstep of what I consider to be a con artist. And she was, in my opinion, honestly afraid because of the behaviors of this guy that lives there. And given the...
Because of the behaviors of the guy... I ain't gonna lie, I'm getting a headache looking at... Because of the behaviors of the guy that lived there? Then he call him a con artist?
Fact that he wanted to be a social justice warrior, in my opinion, and wanted clout and want to make it a race thing when this should have been over the day of. Given the fact that he did all that and tried to expose these people and ruin their lives, I felt like it's my duty to make a video about this and continue to talk about it when nobody else will that much. And then I'm going to give them an opportunity to tell the truth about what happened.
I'm going to save you guys a lot of time here. They didn't discuss nothing that you didn't already hear them say in their own videos. Now, what they did do, though, they did...
Yeah, I watched it as well. And basically the same story she told that I showed in the other video. She said the same thing again in the interview. But also in the interview, what I saw was they felt a sense of entitlement. Like they were supposed to accept their apology. It just pissed me off, bro. I promise, man, this stuff made me mad.
Qualify, I guess, their actions by claiming, well, we can't be racist because we have black friends.
In our neighborhood. I mean, this is our community, and this is a small community. It's, it's like a new urbanism community, where everybody knows your name. It's like Cheers in here, and literally like one of my best friends, man, my boys. He's a black guy. We work out every single day together, dude. He's my business partner in here. We did vacation last year. Our neighbors right next door, our daughters are.
Bro, I ain't even gonna lie to you, bro. This man sound just like my next door neighbor, bro. Bro, I did. Nah, that's my guy, Mike. Both of my neighbors, they white. All of them white. Wait, that one white. That one. Yeah, all of them white except for one. There's another black dude. Me, I'm a black. I'm the youngest one on the block. That's the crazy thing, right? And then the other one, yeah. But he sounds just like
best friends. She's black. So like to see these things and they know who we are and who our friends are and our very community saying those things about us. Man, it was a case of ostracism that, man, I've never experienced in my life, and it sucked.
Listen, do I know these people enough to make a determination on whether or not they're racist? I don't. I don't even know them well enough to confirm if the story about their best friends being black is true. But what I do know, though, is that even if you aren't racist, that doesn't stop your actions from being foul and malicious. Even if you were scared in the moment and you ran away and you got to a point where you are at your neighbor's house, you are safe, you still called the police, told your husband he was chasing you, came back to the scene, told his wife that he never told you he lived there. So even after the fact, after the threat was removed, you called the police and did something more malicious, and then you lied on them. That right there isn't excusable by, oh, I was terrified, I was scared. No, the fear was gone, and you still lied. Your husband was by your side, yo was back at the porch, and you lied on him. That's where we say, okay now, your actions is egregious. Was your actions based on him being black or him being a man? Probably both. Do I personally believe that you would have acted the same if this was a white man, blonde hair, blue eyes? I don't. Does that make you racist? It doesn't. You probably have some type of innate fear, irrational fear when it comes to people who look like them. Right? But just because you are afraid of something or you have prejudice in terms of, how you treat them, does that make you a racist? No. All right? Racism means you believe that your race is superior to theirs. So I don't have enough context to make a judgment on your racism. What I do say, though, is you did something really F up and really egregious in the moment, and that you still haven't made amends for. I'll be real, bro. And I don't feel like you could make amends for this. Now, it's saying, I have black friends.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm gonna end it right there for him. But let me say this piece too. Officer, if y'all go watch the rest of the video, Officer Tatum literally went and on the video, go to Officer Tatum's channel and look at it. But he basically went and got witnesses basically trying to defame the character of the black man. Now, I'm not saying the dude character good or he's a good businessman. That's not the point of the video. The whole point was in that moment, she did something foul. We're not going into the character of the man or if the man got foreclosures. He pulled up. Officer Tatum went as far as to pull up foreclosures that this man got, which I don't care about him having foreclosures. In this moment, I don't care about his business practices. He gonna get dealt with on that in his own time. What we're talking about is that situation that happened on his porch that we all saw. That's what we're talking about. Why are you going into his closet and digging all of this other stuff up that don't mean nothing to defame him? When you didn't do the same thing for her when she got stuff in her closet. Instead of just leaving it on the porch. You feel what I'm saying? So I'm really trying to, in my head, I'm like, is Officer Tatum really just doing this for clout? See, my mind don't think like that. I gotta tell my truth. Even at my job today, I was looking because when I watched it, I felt kind of like bad. I'm like, so he really think this woman didn't do nothing wrong? And the reason I'm really upset is because I can tell what type of woman this is. This is a woman who's been getting away with a lot of stuff. She's been getting away with a lot of stuff. And the fact that them people didn't accept her apology, now she's like, oh, I ain't get away with this. Oh, she feels a sense of entitlement. But now they like, no, we were going to take our time, which they have the right to. Because all I could think about is if they didn't have cameras. She already got a reputation like he showed on there for lying. Why didn't Officer Tatum bring that up? She got a reputation for lying, so imagine what it would have looked like if it wasn't cameras. That's the question. That's the question. So at the end of the day, Officer Tatum, if you're going to do that, if you're going to dig in people's closets, do it on both sides. But I think a blind person can see in that video who was right and who was wrong. She asked the man, did he live there? This man said, yes. You go and scream and yell, help. How do you think he feels? That's the question. Obviously, he's going to be like, man, what? Dang, what'd I do? Is it because I got wicks? Obviously, he's going to ask himself these questions. And you can't neglect the way he feels. That's just point blank. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is, man. Thank you guys for watching the video. Tell me what y'all think in the comments. See you guys next video. Always remember, be safe here, kings and queens. Let's get it.